Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for a Wednesday release of this weekly baseball recap. Let's go ahead and get right to it. Week 9 was pretty fine, but there's always room to improve. This week, we are going to start with the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys, who did pretty well, coming with a big win, 436 to 191, bringing the record to 8-1. Our top scorer was Mr. Two-Star Mitch Keller with 38 points, followed by Christopher Sanchez with 34, Jose Altuve with 32, and then I had 4 guys with 20 points each, so that's pretty good. We had a trio of guys only get 6 points. That's pretty disappointing, but good thing we didn't need all of their points this week. That was including Mr. Freddie Peralta, Nate Lowe, and Yanier Diaz. Tyler Mahle also had a breakdown, only got us 4 points, and Javi Baez only got us 3. That is not surprising. What's also not surprising is the fact that he is one of our guys that we dropped. Surprise, surprise. We added Mr. Randy Vasquez because he has 2 starts this week against the Pirates and the Marlins, so I like where that's going. Jordan Romano because Jose Alvarado got busted with PEDs. Randy Rodriguez, Griffin Jackson, and Gavin Sheets. Gavin Sheets has first base and outfield eligibility, and he's made a big surprise not only for fantasy owners, but the Padres in general. We already talked about one of the drops being Javi Baez. The others did include Mr. Jonathan India, one of my favorite players, but just couldn't get it going. Does walk a lot, so that's pretty good. You got something going for him. Also, JJ Bleday just couldn't get it going, couldn't replicate last year's good production after mulling around in Miami for a little bit. Really hoping he gets back on track. Also, Fernando Cruz, because as soon as I picked him up, he started to do poorly, so go figure with that. And then finally, Jose Quintana. He got hurt. He broke down. 36-year-old. Was pitching pretty well last year. Pitching decently well this year. I don't know if he's going to be back. They say he's going to be back. He's doing some bullpens. I don't know if that's really going to be the case because, again, it's shoulder issues. He's an older guy. I hope he comes back because I do like him. I think he does well. And I think he's got something to offer, 8-1 sounds good, but we have to keep trying. We cannot be complacent. We're losing the guys to demotion. We're losing guys to injuries. And unfortunately, we're losing guys just to not having good production. We have to make those tough cuts. Jonathan India is one of them. Love the guy, but not doing enough for him, man. So we're going to have to continue to be smart with these Funky Junky Joker Monkeys moving forward. Get the blemish out of the way early before we get to the championship game, right? So now we're going to move to the Kent Murphy Dingers. Last episode, we talked about having a tough matchup with Rough Rider this coming week. Rough Rider was the individual who drafted with us in person this past year, so very appreciative of that. This week, we both had bad luck pitching-wise. His was with the starting pitching, not getting enough strikeouts. Mine was with the relief pitching, not getting enough strikeouts, and also getting my ERA and whip up there. However, at the end of the week, it came down to the very last game. I had Alex Vesia, and I needed 1 strike. And if you watch the game, he didn't even get in. So it was a tie. Each one of us had 4 categories, so we tied into probably the best case scenario because had either one of us won, the bad luck would have just eaten away at us. But the guys that did well for me did include Mr. Matt Olson, who had 3 home runs, but only had 4 RBIs. Jose Altuve, who had 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. And then Mr. Alec Bohm, who is finally getting some stuff going. He had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. What's up, man? He also had at least 1 home run and between 2 and 6 RBIs from Mr. Lawrence Butler, Bryce Turang, Jacob Wilson, Riley Green, and Zach Neto. So glad we were able to get him. Lawrence Butler also chipped in with 2 stolen bases. While Christopher Sanchez added 13 strikeouts between his starts. And we had gems, absolute gems from Landon Roop, Jameson Taillon, Carlos Rodon, of course, Brian Wu, and Nick Pivetta. The guys that didn't do as well for us included Hunter Goodman, Jackson Merrill, and Christian Yelich. And if you're wondering, no, I didn't start Christian Yelich when he hit the 2 home runs and had the RBIs and the stolen base and the run score. No, I didn't do that. I didn't start him then. We also had bad outings from Christopher Sanchez, Hunter Brown, which is very odd, Zach Gallen, which has not become odd, and Luis Ortiz. Then we had bad relief appearances from Justin Martinez, Shelby Miller, and Jordan Romano. See? Had they struck one more guy out, I could have won that category. The as this week did include Mr. Jacob Wilson, who I'm super excited about having on my team, Landon Roop, Luis Ortiz, Jameson Taillon, who's one of my favorite players, Patrick Corbin, and Will Vest. Now, the guys that we dropped did include Jameson Taillon, Landon Roop, Patrick Corbin, but also Shelby Miller, because we have Justin Martinez now, Jordan Lawler, because I still don't know if he has his first major league hit, and then, of course, Jose Alvarado. So after this week, we are 5-1-2. Not too bad. Definitely doing better than we did last year. Last year, we had 6 total wins. Now we have 5 on the season. If you count the 2 ties, then we do now have 6. But 1, we do not want to be complacent. 2, We want to continue to scour the waiver wire. And 3, we don't want to get fleeced by really bad trades that are offered to us because someone now finally wants to trade someone that we asked for like 2 years ago. So now we're going to move to the Cheese Weasels, where this week we are in 5th place with 93.5 points. What's up? See, a few weeks ago, we were down to like the low 70s, well, mid to low 70s. Now we're back up to the 90s. Told you it's a long, long season. A lot can go right and a lot can go wrong in a very short amount of time or over a period of time. So I was not at all worried being back in 8th place. We obviously still have a lot of work to do, but let's be happy about what happened this past week. Trea Turner had 12 hits. That included 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, and a few walks just for cherry on top, right? This time we did start Christian Yelich, who gave us 2 home runs and 4 RBIs, so thank you for that. Then we had at least 1 home run from Lawrence Butler, Shea Langeliers, Nolan Arenado, Zach Neto, and my boy Spencer Torkelson. Pitching-wise, we had absolute gems from a few guys. Unfortunately, the outcomes were not as favorable all the time. So the wins went to Ranger Suarez and Luis Castillo. The losses went to Nick Martinez. He threw like 7 innings of 1-run ball, and the Reds just couldn't help him out. And then no decisions by Cade Horton and, of course, Paul Skeens, because why would the Pirates want to help their best player? Clark Schmidt against the Rockies. Was that blown saves from Uribe and Barry Finnegan? That's pretty unfortunate because, again, we're leading in blown saves, and that is not what we want to do. There were quite a few adds and drops this week, and they all revolved around pitching. The adds did include Cade Horton, Ranger Suarez, Clark Schmidt, Al Leiter Jr., Patrick Corbin, Walker Buehler, Griffin Jax, Justin Martinez, and Luis Castillo. The drops did include Andrew Abbott, Ben Kasparias, Luis Castillo, Nick Martinez, Cade Horton, Ranger Suarez, Clark Schmidt, and Al Leiter Jr. So lots of pitching. Lots and lots of pitching. About 3 months early. This is supposed to be my last ditch effort to try to get back into points and win some and make an epic comeback. And instead, I'm just continuing to extend my wins when it comes to losses. So I'm making sure I get the number 1 point for that. You want the most points in this league. So yeah, having the most losses gives me 1 point. That's not good. So now we're going to flip it on over after we talked about the great progress we made with the Cheese Weasels to the ESPN leagues to talk about the Peach Creek Purgatory team, where this week came out with another win. No surprise there. This week's victory was a 991 to 539 shellacking, bringing us to 8-1 on the year. Our leading scorer was Trea Turner with 91, followed by Taylor Rule with 88. Our next closest was, I think, Brent Rooker with like 66. Our top scorer for pitching was only like 45, so my hitters did their thing. No one really did poorly except for Christian Walker. He got us 5 points, and then Jorge Soler only got us 0. I say only got a 0 because at one point in time he had points and then with strikeouts and stuff like that. So, yeah. And then when I drop him, which, surprise, surprise, is one of the drops, he hits a home run. So, cool. Speaking of the adds and drops, we did add Joe Musgrove, who's out for the rest of the year, but we have some IL spots, and might as well keep him, especially looking towards next year. Also, Gabe Spire, who's a relief pitcher for the Mariners, and then Sawyer Gipson-Long, who should be coming back relatively soon for the Tigers. After this week, we were 8-1, pretty happy with that, but again, cannot be complacent, have to keep scouring the waiver wire. It's a super deep league. We have like 45 players on this team, so we have to be smart. We can't just drop someone because they did bad for us. Stephen O'Kirk. But in all seriousness, we can't just drop guys willy-nilly. We have to be aware of who's doing well in the minor leagues, who is being promoted from maybe single A to high A up to double A, so on and so forth. And obviously injuries. If guys are hurt, if we have the opportunity to hold them, like I'm holding a few guys now who are out for the season. Braxton Garrett, Joe Musgrove, those two in particular. And we also have a few guys who are going to be on the waiver wire in other leagues, but nowhere near them on my leagues. You know, I want to make sure I am holding them for next year when they're hopefully going to be healthy and doing well. But in any case, now we move to the Russell My Jim Jams team, where this week we had a pretty big victory, 9 categories to 4 categories to 3 categories. Now you might be thinking, why was that a big win? You won by a few categories. What's so special about that? Because now I'm officially over 500. 60 wins, 58 losses, and 26 ties. I also beat out one of the top teams. So, again, patience is a virtue. And I cannot stress that enough because baseball is a long season with many games. However, as happy as I was with this 9-4-3 win, should have won Hold, but Cade Smith and Andrew Kittredge. God bless America. But in any case, let's talk about the guys who did well for us. The top guy has to be Taylor Ward. 8 extra base hits, 12 RBIs, and 3 home runs. Then Lawrence Butler had 5 extra base hits. He also did add 1 home run, 2 stolen bases, and 4 RBIs. Then Logan O'Hoppe had 5 extra base hits, 7 RBIs, and 4 home runs, while Gavin Sheets had 4 extra base hits because they were 4 home runs, and there were 8 RBIs. Great week for those guys. But we're not done. There's more. Jose Altuve had 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. Alec Boehm had 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Christopher Sanchez had 13 strikeouts for us. And Luke Weaver and Kenley Jansen both had 3 saves each for us. So they all did really well and helped me get these non-categorical wins. On the other side, we had a bad start from Christopher Sanchez. We also did not start Kevin Gausman, who went like 7 innings, gave up no earned runs, maybe 1 walk, and like 9 strikeouts. That definitely would have helped ERA and WHIP. We also had bad relief outings from Mr. Andrew Kittredge, who blew a save, Cade Smith, who blew a save, and then Graham Ashcraft, who just inflated my ERA and WHIP. That stinks. Speaking of Graham Ashcraft, who was one of our ads this week, along with Alex Vesia and Orion Kerkering. Orion Belta Kerkering. Jobs they include Ryan Belta Kerkering, Luis Ortiz, Jonathan India, and Chris Martin. So again, finally over 500 with our wins officially. We do have those 13 extra wins from the 26 ties, so we were above 500 anyway, but again, it feels good to be above 500. We're still, I think, in 6th or 7th spot, so not great, but not 8th, not 10th. So we have to keep working hard. This week we're playing one of the bums who doesn't want to do the redraft because he has all the good guys. So if I beat him this week, that's going to be pretty pathetic on his part because he's got like Vladdy, Bryce, Jordan, which I know he's hurt. He has Ohtani. So yeah, if this guy loses, he's a pathetic piece of crap. Anyone who loses and they have Ohtani, you're freaking pathetic. You're terrible because 20 home runs, 35 RBIs, which that's not great. 20 home runs, only 35 RBIs, that's not great. That's good, but starting Ohtani in the leadoff spot instead of 3 or 4, think how many more RBIs he would have if he had some ducks on the pond, you know? But whatever, I don't have Ohtani in any of my leagues. I would love to have him because, I mean, it'd be a cheap way to win home runs, RBIs, and stolen bases every week. But, you know, it is what it is. So now we're going to move to the South Harmon Institute of Technology, where this week, unfortunately, we were winning, and then, again, Sunday, we freaking blew it. 6 categories to 9 categories to 3 categories. We absolutely should have won at least one more. So we shoulda, coulda, woulda. However, when we got to the whip, let me show you what the whip was. Yep. We lost by that much. Really? I'll tell you why we lost here in a second too, but let's get to the good part. Let's get to the guys who did well for us first. Of course, our top guy was Taylor Ward. 26 total bases, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, and a cool 9 runs scored just by himself. Also, Matt Olson. You had 15 total bases. You had 3 home runs, but you only had 4 RBIs. Let's get some ducks on the pond there, buddy. We also had 5 guys with 10 plus total bases, so that was great. We also had individual feats like Mr. Bryce Terang, who had 6 RBIs, and Mr. Francisco Lindor, who had 3 stolen bases. And 5 walks. Can't forget the walks. Pitching-wise, Uribe got us our lone win of the week, and Christopher Sanchez got us 13 strikeouts. Now we're going to learn why I lost WHIP by a minuscule amount. We had 4 blown saves. We had 6 total losses. 4 of those losses were relievers. So the other pitchers that did not do any help for us in the WHIP category did include Spencer Strider, Patrick Corbin, Jack Flaherty, Logan Evans. And then when you think the pitching was pretty bad, the hitting, CJ Abrams. Did you forget how to hit 1 for 12? Come on, dog. Guys and drops for this week could have absolutely been better. We added Logan Evans, who didn't well for our pitching. Jake Myers and Sal Frelick, who helped a little bit. I think Frelick added a stolen base, and Myers had a few hits for us, so good for that. And then Patrick Corbin, who got absolutely mollywopped by the White Sox. The drops did include J.J. Bleday because of his recent demotion, Trevor Larnach because, I don't know, didn't think he was going to help me. Then he got a stolen base the day I dropped him. Logan Evans, and then Luis Ortiz. With our terrible losses, we are still hitting at a nice overall record of 73, 57, and 32. Do not get complacent. Do not think that we have done anything special, because we have a lot of baseball left. So speaking of a lot of baseball, let's get to guys who you should add who might be good for the long run. I've already talked about one of them, Sawyer Gipson-Long. He is going to AAA Toledo, doing well in his recovery. He should be back in that rotation here a little bit. I don't know if they're going to bring Alex Cobb back. Yeah, I was going to say Alex Cobb, but that's a guy who dropped earlier. Alex Cobb back anytime soon. We're not going to rush him. So I definitely think that Sawyer Gipson-Long is going to be a great addition if you have the opportunity to hold him. I mean, it might be another week or two, and they might not immediately use him as a starter. They might use him as a bulk reliever. But in any case, definitely think he would do well in any league. Deep, shallow, whatever. Another guy I think you should add is Ryan O'Hearn, outfielder / first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles. Now, the team itself not doing great, but this guy, he's hitting .380, has 20 plus runs scored, 20 plus RBIs, 9 home runs, and 2 stolen bases. Shout out to Sam Houston State. That's where Ryan O'Hearn went to school at. I do have experience at Sam, and also am doing a dynasty in my NCAA series, so go check that out if you're interested. So back to guys you should add. A guy with multi-positionality, just like Hearn, Matt Shaw. Since coming back up, not too long, I think 2 weeks ago, he's hitting almost .330, so definitely might have figured it out down in AAA. I think it's Iowa. I think that's where the AAA team is. But for the Cubs, he's got steals, he's got a little bit of power, not showing it all off yet, but he's getting around the bases enough in that very functional Cubs offense. You have some guys who are getting the stolen bases. You get some guys who are putting down the sacrifice. You have some guys who are getting the power. So definitely a good lineup to have. The last guy I think you should add is a pitcher for the Indians, making his first rehab assignment after Tommy John surgery and a phenomenal start to the season last year, Mr. Shane Bieber. He could make your second half absolutely spectacular. If you have the IL spot available right now, definitely go grab him. He will be phenomenal with a little bit of run support that Indians offense can absolutely give him with one man alone, Mr. J Ram. I mean, what's not to like about the odds there, you know? So that's going to do it for the recap for Week 9. Very happy with how the teams are doing right now. Definitely made some progress in some. Do not want to fall into complacency with any of them, so we're going to continue to work well with the waiver wire gods and hope that we have some more panic drops. We absolutely had one this past week in one of my leagues, so I'm absolutely hoping that, I think he comes off the waiver wires tomorrow or Friday, so I will hopefully be able to tell you next week, hopefully before Wednesday, if I got my boy. So, as always, this is Jake Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.